Good morning and welcome to the show. This is In Touch, and In Touch is our weekly half-hour public affairs show. At the end of the program today, if you are a member of a nonprofit group or organization, if you are a company helping out a nonprofit group or organization here in the Hudson Valley, we'd love to have you on the program to talk about the issues that are important to you, what you feel is important for the health and the well-being of everyone here in the Hudson Valley. I'll give you a myriad of ways to get a hold of me, but first off, let me say this is pre-recorded, so any phone numbers, website, Facebook pages, Instagram feeds, whatever we may cover today, know that on whatever radio station you're listening to, go to the website, keyword In Touch, and you will find today's show. So let me turn on the microphone. We are welcoming someone new to the studio, which is cool. Melissa Clark is here. And Melissa is United Way of the Dutchess Orange Region's Director of Community Impact. I wanted to make sure that I got that right. Melissa, thank you very much and good morning.
Sure. Thank you so much for having me this morning.
I think it's great that you guys are on the show because we have a lot of organizations that the United Way supports that have stopped by, that have been in this studio. And I think I'm trying to think if anyone from the United Way has been on the show. If they have, I think it's been, over like 10 years, 10 or 12 years. I think it has been that long. So
well, we're happy to come anytime.
I think it's very cool that you're here to talk about it. Just so everyone knows, before we turn the microphone on, I always talk about, here's the first question, and then we're going to kind of go from there. So as Melissa and I talked about, I know that people have heard the phrase United Way. We have. Most people can find and know what the logo is. But what is the United Way? For folks that say, well, I think it's this and it might be that. But Melissa, tell us, what is the United Way? How does it work?
Sure. So yes, I'm sure many of you in the audience have heard the phrase over the years. We are the largest international charity. We have nearly 2,000 affiliates worldwide. We are United Way of the Dutchess Orange region. So we're specific to Dutchess and Orange counties. And our mission is to fight for the financial stability, education, and health of every person in our community. And in fact, if I can elaborate just a little bit, last year we touched the lives of over 124,000 people. That's 1 in 6 in Dutchess and Orange counties.
Wow. I love that. So you fight for the financial, say that again, because that was a great
it's
line.
It's a bit of a mouthful, but financial stability, education, and health of every person in our community.
Wow. That's a very powerful statement.
Thanks.
That's very powerful. But if people can remember that statement as we go through the show today, I think as Melissa and I have been speaking, there's an awful lot going on. So I feel like you guys really are addressing that's not just a nice little statement that you toss out there. No.
Yeah.
No.
Absolutely. And so, as I said before, we have all of these worldwide United Ways, but we focus on the needs that are right here in Dutchess and Orange County. So, when somebody gives to United Way, it's staying local.
So that leads me to my next question. Mm-hmm. How does the money, so folks give to United Way, how does the money, which we're going to talk about the amazing number of organizations that are being helped this year and programs, but how does that work? A donation comes in. How does that happen?
Sure. That's a great question. So we have a whole strategic community process. We at the United Way want the community to not only be involved in obviously their donations, but actually the allocations of those donations. So when it's time to work on the community funding process and grant those 49 programs, of which we did this year, we actually have 200 experts in the community that lend their feedback to that process. So it's not just our board making this decision; it's the entire community.
Now, are these individuals, are they specific to an organization, or they have been community leaders, they're experts, and they know so much about the community that they're able to really make a voice for all of them?
And to the audience out there, we're always looking for those that want to get involved. But yes, we do look for community leaders, those that are in the education sector, business, government. We really want a diverse, dynamic community feedback overall.
So with that process, knowing that you guys have just made the announcement of organizations, are there deadlines to apply? How do organizations do that? What's that like?
Yes, that's a great question. So yes, we just actually notified our awardees this week. It's been a very exciting weekend. We were able to allocate $850,000, which we're pretty proud of, to 49 programs in our community. There, of course, we do a competitive request for proposal each year. So there are plenty of opportunities to apply for the 2018-2019 fiscal year, if you can believe that already.
That's scaring me.
I know. But that typically we put that document out live. It'll be in the paper, on our website, everywhere, right at the beginning of March.
Wow. So you guys, you're already getting applications for the next fiscal year when you were wrapping up and the process to just I can't speak English, this week announcing who won. Wow.
Yes.
This is like a never end. I mean, you guys.
It's a process. Mm-hmm.
Talk about really, and it makes sense. It would have to be. If you're looking at Dutchess in Orange County, you're looking at the many great organizations, the individuals, the neighborhoods, the communities.
Right, exactly. And so the funded partners, the organizations that are applying, they have 6 weeks to put in their application. And then all of those proposals go to our 200 grants reviewers. And then after we get all of their online evaluation, we have face-to-face meetings. So we make sure we get all the qualitative, quantitative bases covered. We have all these face-to-face, really engaging, interesting conversations. And then that's the feedback that goes up to our Community Impact Committee and ultimately to our Board of Directors.
Wow. So for those, if someone is like, oh, wait, I've always donated to the United Way, they can really, I would think, feel really great that this is such an extensive process before the monies are then awarded.
Yes, it's very thorough, very transparent, and we do, ask many of our donors to be involved in the process too. So if there are any long-term supporters out there that would like to get more involved, certainly contact me to participate in grant review for next year.
Wow. I'm very impressed because I knew, I think like a lot of folks, I knew a little bit and, I knew it was a great organization. I knew that you donated and it went to a myriad of programs, but how it got there.
Right.
I had no idea, which I think is extremely powerful for people to know.
No, thank you. And just to also sort of piggyback on that, we have an extensive community needs assessment process too that we do each year because we know that trends change. So each year we focus on a different one of our categories. And this year we actually focused on our new category. And I'm happy to announce that we have partnered with the United Way Worldwide and kicked off our own local Mission United initiative here that's focused on veterans' needs. So we did add a 4th category this year.
Wow. So that's a whole new program.
Yes. So we were able to award 2 pilot programs funding under veterans' needs this year.
That's great.
So we're always growing, always seeing what the needs are and doing our best to fill those. Yeah,
you would have to because like you said, what goes on in a community, just like life, it changes and it can change daily, weekly, monthly. You can have an economic impact in part of the community. There could be realizing that there's a family need, realizing that maybe there's a children education issue. It is always going to change and they're not always going to stay the same. You guys would have to.
Yeah. And last year education was our focus. So we had a couple of those community conversations, community needs assessments focused on that. So
wow. That's great. Okay. So now that we kind of have a little bit of a background about how it works, you talked about the fact that there are how many organizations? 35 organizations this year?
And 49 programs.
Wow.
And we are program focused. We're outcome focused, evidence based. So although we have historic partnerships with a number of our programs, it is a competitive process every year.
And so it's not just because someone came in last year and they got it. There are, like you said, measurable.
Yep.
That's important because then that way the money really is not just going where it needs to go, but it's really having an impact. And that what, like you said, if folks come in face-to-face meeting and maybe they explain a little bit more about what this certain program is, there's a way to measure it. No. Did it work? Does it have an impact?
Absolutely. And we require extensive data reporting. We have site visits where we actually go once a year and, ensure all the programs are, meeting the needs and requirements of the application. So we have a really extensive process built in around that too.
Again, I go back. I'm going to repeat this again, but again, I say if you've donated to the United Way, this is a really great process. Your money stays local. You're helping people right here in Dutchess and Orange County, and it's being watched and monitored and knowing. That's very powerful for everyone that's working really hard for their money, which everybody.
Right, of course.
Everybody
of course.
is. And people are doing paycheck to paycheck. So that's really tremendous. So what are some other things that you have? Right. Or first off, before I jump to the next question, this is the part where I said I would ask like 3 things at once. This is the part. Anything else that you want to talk about the awarding and the awards of the programs and the organizations?
Yeah, sure. So, we're just really thrilled to be able to announce these awards and partner with all of these wonderful organizations in our community that are really meeting the needs of those, that are in need and that can use help, whether it's prevention based or somebody that's, facing a crisis, and to help them on the path to sustainability.
Cool. So what are some upcoming events? What are some things that you're like, okay, I need to talk about this. We need to get the word out. What are some of those?
Yes. So there's so many ways to be involved with United Way. I know we've been sort of focusing on grants review and donations, but there's other ways to volunteer as well. Okay. Day of Action is one of our 5 days of caring. That's coming up June 19th through 24th. That whole week, we make it a whole week of action.
Oh, cool.
So there's definitely opportunities that volunteers can get involved that way. And certainly if you go on our website, reach out to me, I can set you up with an opportunity. For our last day of caring, it was National Volunteer Week. And these are national days of caring that we have in conjunction at our United Way as well. We had over 250 volunteers, which we're pretty proud of it. 13 different projects that are helping the nonprofits in our community. And then June 21st, that same week, for those of you nonprofit professionals out there and board members and volunteers, we have a grant writers toolbox, and that is with Marist College, and we'll have a Marist College professor from the Masters of Public Administration program and the Foundation Center liaison at the Poughkeepsie Public Library District, focusing on finding those grants and reporting their data. So those are a couple of things that are just coming this month.
That's a very powerful thing in grants. Grant writing is an art form.
Yes,
I've always, with some of the nonprofits that I've been involved with in organizations, that is, how am I going to say? It really helps to have an overview of the process. It is extremely powerful to have someone who is familiar with that. And then, like you said, also to find them. You may not be aware of some that are out there. And so it's powerful to hook up with people who do know, because then you save, we all know, if you're a board member of a nonprofit, if you are an employee of a nonprofit, time, you could put in 90 hours a day and still not be able to get everything done. So to be able to sit and have a meeting where someone can say, here's where you can look. We've already checked this out. That saves your sanity and saves your time.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. We're thrilled. So we have these nonprofit professional development trainings twice a year, and it's part of our whole capacity building work at United Way. And, that involves increasing the capacity of the nonprofit professionals in our area. And so we always offer these free of cost to nonprofit professionals. We recognize that a lot of trainings do cost money, and they're not always right in Poughkeepsie either.
Right.
So then we use the data and survey results from the previous professional development days, and then we take that and we start recruiting for those really powerful presenters that will be able to answer that need. And we keep hearing time and time again that nonprofit professionals in the community want more information about grant writing. So June 21st, please come.
Now, what do they need to do? Is there a way they sign up online or call? What if someone's listening this morning?
Yes, if they go on our website, there's certainly a way to register. And if you have any troubles, definitely give me a call. I'll put you on the list.
Okay. All right. So what else? What else is coming up? As you mentioned, we've talked about donating. We've talked about these. Is there what else is going on that you want folks in the community to know about?
Yeah. So,
which is such a loaded question because there's like a million things. But okay.
I know. Yes. So something that's very exciting is that we're actually going to be celebrating our 80th anniversary
Yes,
here in Dutchess,
absolutely,
Orange.
absolutely.
And so we invite the audience out there to our annual campaign kickoff breakfast. This year it'll be on September 14th. I know it's a few months away, but calendars clear up quickly. So, we'd love to have you. It's a time to celebrate all of the work that we do. We always focus on some of our nonprofit partners that are really going above and beyond and doing dynamic work, and hear from them. And we also talk about our campaigns, our workplace campaigns that really raise the dollars that we're able to do this work.
What do people with the breakfast, I mean, can they make a reservation now? How does that work? Or just like you said, calendar it now. Fill up. So is there anything that people can do now?
Put it up, calendar it now. Save the dates are going out shortly.
Got it. That's what I wanted. Okay. Save the dates are coming out. Okay. So make sure you write that down.
Yes. And then, in terms of other initiatives that are sort of ongoing, I mentioned Mission United, which we're just so excited and enthused to be a part of this national veterans initiative. And here in the Hudson Valley, we're focusing on housing access and legal services and employment training for veterans. So we're thrilled to be a part of that. In addition, we received a state grant, and we're doing a lot of anti-poverty work in the city of Newburgh and hearing directly from the residents about how we can make a change in that community. And finally, not finally, because there's so much I can talk about, but another ongoing a new initiative is our AmeriCorps Vista program. We were recently named one of 16 United Ways in the nation. And in fact, we recruited the first one, so right now we're the only one in the nation, to have an economic mobility Vista, which stands for Volunteer in Service to America. And it's an AmeriCorps program. And so it's an opportunity to focus on our cash coalition, our tax preparation programs, and augment some of our existing programs so that we're serving more individuals that are in need, and specifically economic need.
So how does AmeriCorps work? There are individuals that graduated college that have knowledge in these areas, and they volunteer. How does that work?
Yes.
I'm saying it, but I have no idea what I'm saying.
It's a great question. It's a national service program, and so what's really unique about AmeriCorps, and it was started in the 60s as the domestic answer to the Peace Corps, and you build these programs yourself, these projects over a year, and you can do it up to 3 years. The Vista and the AmeriCorps members actually live at the level of those that they are serving. So for the year, for the service year, they live in poverty among those that they're serving.
Wow. So it's not like someone who gets to go home and have all the amenities and then be like, okay, from 9 to 5,
right,
I'm going to figure this out. Not that there's anything but wrong with that, but if you're there and you're in that situation and you're in that, you might be able to come up with something that you would have never thought of before.
It's a real commitment.
Wow.
It takes really dedicated volunteers, and we're so thrilled to be a part of this program.
Wow. Are there volunteers that you have that are?
Yes, we have one. So we have one, and she'll be here for the next year. You sign on for your commitment, and then we could receive this grant up to 3 years. So,
wow, that's very powerful. No wonder, like earlier before we turned the microphone on, you were like, "Hey, we're also part of this." That is a powerful program.
Yes.
Now, how do people get involved with that? Do they need to go at a national level with AmeriCorps to be able to go through that process?
Yes. So they are federally funded volunteers. So they would have to go on AmeriCorps.gov and find out about the opportunities that are available.
Okay, I'm writing that down. And just while I'm writing this down, just know that whatever radio station you're listening to this morning, the website, we'll have all of that here. So if anyone is interested in that, there's an awful lot. There is so much, as you said, not just donating, but also other ways to help out with the United Way, to be a voice in the community.
Absolutely. And so I know we discussed some of these service projects that, go in for a few hours, clean up a park, paint a classroom, those sort of, hands-on, feel-good projects. Afterwards, the nonprofit, they wouldn't have had this help otherwise. And so it's incredibly helpful to them. But we have other opportunities too. We're always looking for young leaders, for committee members. There's all sorts of opportunities to get involved, be an advocate, be a supporter of United Way.
I oftentimes think, a lot of folks may say, "Oh, you know what this neighborhood needs? You know what this county needs?" And we all have our opinion, and they are all valid. But to me, when you really step up, when you look at young leaders, when you look at community volunteers, when you look at someone who may serve on the board to help determine where the monies go, that to me is where you put your money where your mouth is. You know what I mean? You live here, and it's important to you. And there may be causes that are important to you. And here's an opportunity for you to step up and not just, I call it water cooler talk, not just talk about it in the hallway, not just talk about it, over a cup of coffee, but you're really doing something and you really are saying, okay, this is important to me. And here's an organization, as you said, transparent, what is going on. There are so many ways that things are being evaluated, where the monies are going. Great reputation. This is an opportunity for you to step up and really help.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, like I said before, if those that donate to United Way, just money stays local, and there are so many ways to get involved as well on top of that, and become an advocate, become a supporter, join one of our committees, attend our events, participate in the grants review process. And, a lot of those that participate in grants review, these aren't, some of them are retired, but mostly it's those that are already working 40, 50, 60 hours a week, but taking the extra time maybe at home to go through and really give us a really thorough evaluation of our proposals.
Which is powerful because, as you guys said, you go out and you take a look at what the community needs. So you do an assessment, but then you also hear from folks in the community that, that's a way that people can have a voice. That, like you said, education was focused last year, veterans focused this year. There may be someone listening going, I know what next year needs to be. Well, good.
Yes.
And that's great. But then you've got to make sure that you raise your hand and say, hey, I'm going to volunteer. Hey, I'm going to do something. Hey, I'm not just going to sit there and complain that things are this way or things are that way. Not when there is an opportunity for everybody, anybody and everybody to step up and do something.
Yes.
That to me, I always felt better about that. You kind of take a little bit of the control back and things are not happening to you. You're participating in the process. I think that's very, very powerful.
Yes, absolutely. And we have, 2 office locations. So yes, we are in Poughkeepsie and we're opening a new office in Newburgh. So, there's definitely opportunities for both counties to get involved. We hold meetings in both counties and make sure that we can have as many people involved in the process we serve anywhere from Dover to Port Jervis, I like to say.
Wow, that's a stretch. That's quite a bit of landscape. Yep. And as we've said before, in each community, there's going to be a different, in some areas, it may be education, it may be healthcare, it may be elder care, it may be veterans, it may be housing, it may be anti-poverty. It's all going to change. So you guys aren't looking at everything with a big brush stroke. Right. You are asking folks from each individual. And I really repeat that because I so often hear, well, what are you going to do?
Right.
That's the way it is. No, not really. It doesn't have to be. Not when there's an organization like the United Way.
Absolutely.
And to me, part of me is thinking, the campaign kickoff breakfast, that would be a nice thing to come and attend and see and learn and get motivated.
Yes, absolutely. And we're, so excited to be kicking off 80 years.
That's powerful.
United Way. And I think it'll be a really exceptional, exciting breakfast and we really hope that you can come and celebrate with us.
Now, before we have about, this is going to go quick. I told you this would go really fast. We only have a couple minutes before we get to final thoughts. Are there any organizations or any sponsors or anybody that you want to say, hey, thanks, or just direct people to the website so they can find out all that information?
Yeah, we have 300 workplace campaigns and hundreds of leadership donors, and in total we have over 7,000 donors.
Okay, so we're not running down that list.
So
right
I don't
now.
know about but we appreciate all that you do for us in the community. I just want to, from everybody that donates to everybody that gives an hour of their time to our nonprofits that are out there doing the important work, I just want to thank you on our behalf.
Wow, that is funny. As you're mentioning all the numbers, I'm going, yeah, we're not doing a list. There's no way that we're going to do a list. Melissa, thank you very much for coming in today. As I said before, I think you guys are going to have to come back because, if you just look at the fact that you talked about what got awarded, you're talking about the days of action, right? The 5 days of action in June. Mm-hmm. Then there is on June 21st, there is the Grant Writer's Toolbox. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's just in the next couple of weeks. So I feel like you guys will have to come back maybe in the fall.
Right.
Because you're going to have a whole nother lineup.
A whole new slate of things
All right,
going
okay.
on.
Well, that's just it. You should just mark this down in, in your calendar and we'll just figure this out. Melissa, before we head out, any closing comments, final thoughts you'd like to leave with folks today?
Yeah, I just wanted to mention one more quick initiative. We have a Day of Sharing program, so we give out about $100,000 worth of material goods that are new from major retailers that are overstock, really generous retailers like Calvin Klein, Bed Bath & Beyond. It's housewares, it's bedding, hygiene items for those that are in need. And we have found that we do not receive enough children's items. So we're kicking off a children's corner. So we're going to be looking for those donations. So I just want to put it on your radar. We will be seeking hygiene items and baby clothes and things like that this summer. So I hope that any of you out there can help us. And I just want to encourage you to get involved in any way. I am always happy to meet with you, to talk, and get you involved in United Way, and so we can live united together.
I love it. I love it. Melissa, thank you very, very much. And thanks to all of you. Hopefully there's something that you've learned from the program today. So if you have any questions about anything you've heard on the show, whatever station you're listening to, head to the website. In the upper right-hand corner, you'll see a little box that says keyword. Just type in touch, and it will bring up this show as well as past shows. So you'll have all the information there. There will be an article. So we'll have some links to different pages and phone numbers, and all of that will be there. If you are a member of a nonprofit organization and you're saying, hey, I want to be on the show, there's some things that I want to talk about that's going on here in the Hudson Valley, then I would love to have you on the program. Here's how you do that. You can email me, beth.christie@townsquaremedia.com. You can call 845-471-1500. My extension is 159. I am on Facebook. I am on Twitter. I'm on Pinterest. I'm there. I'm Instagram. I'm probably too many places, but that just means you can find me. We'd love to have you on the show. Take care of yourself and those you love, and we'll see you right here next week.